Hi, I'm Bran, and I love Ride.
I'm Ryan, and I like Bran's hat. And Ride is here too.
I'm Dan, and I despise Ride mixed on the hat. And this is the Deck the Hallmark podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast.
Brandon and friends host this podcast. We hope you like this jolly podcast.
It seems like mere moments ago we were here.
Yeah. You know how I know it's not mere? It wasn't mere moments. I just got one of these seltzers out of the fridge we have.
Ooh.
There's a few ice chips in it.
Oh,
I don't know if that's good. I don't know if the fridge is doing what it's supposed to do, but this is maybe the best polar seltzer water I've ever tasted.
wow.
And that's promo code DECK at checkout.
No.
It isn't. Polar isn't sponsoring us. They're just like Red Robin getting free advertisement.
Can you buy Polar D2C? Direct to consumer.
D2C. Yes. Thank you for making that clear. If you were on Philo, though, philo.tv/DTH, you would know what kind of Polar I'm drinking. But I'm going to save that just for the Philo viewing ship.
You think they can see that, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You can see the ice chips. It's
wow.
Man, if you got HD, 4K.
My goodness.
Yeah.
That's what you get OLED for.
That's what the OLED is for. That's right.
For nothing else. Is it for sports? No.
No.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We're talking about Ride, episode 2.
Ooh.
I am wearing earbuds now, which I never do.
How you
when
feeling
doing
about
that.
it?
I feel discombobulated a bit. I feel
that's a good use of the word.
thank you. I feel like if I were to stand up, I'd fall down.
Wow.
I feel a little maybe like this is what I imagine vertigo's like. You too.
No comment.
That's how
comment.
how it is. Yeah.
No comment.
I'm just saying this is what I imagine.
That's what
'cause
you
I
imagine.
feel a little bit
Brand
dizzy.
wearing a horse hat
Do you-
is akin to people that suffer from vertigo, is what Bran is saying.
No,
Bran,
no. Me wearing earbuds underneath the horse. It is
Oh, my bad.
It's different.
Yes.
No, the semantics are important there. Bran, do
Okay.
you think if we are in a future weeks where we're not doing 2 episodes in short order, do you think you'll go over the ears, or is it buds the rest of the way?
I think there's a chance I will go to over the ears before this episode's over.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
That's how much
First of its kind.
This is making me want to throw up. That's how much I'm gonna
That's
throw
how
this out
vertigo
right
works.
now. Let me throw this out to you guys.
Please do.
Are you guys liking 2 episodes in a week? This is the second week in a row. Are you liking it? Is this kind of your jam?
I feel like it makes more sense to do it weekly. I always like a batch record. Like that's just how I am in general. Like I'm the guy that's what if we do 8 in a day? Like that's who I am. So as a person that likes efficiency, that's like, let's do this thing, let's go. This is preferred, but like to really let it simmer and marinate on a show as deep and intricate and layered as Ride, you may need that full week. You know what I mean, Rye?
Yeah, I'm of the mind. I'm a product of the 90s, as we've talked about extensively from the way home. I like waiting a week to talk about the next episode and getting ready for the next episode. Also, in this instance with how the timeline is breaking down for this, I don't know if any of us are thrilled with the show, and it's not like we have a week off after this record. Like we got to watch Ride and talk about it next week. The week off was for the way home. It wasn't for Ride. So it's not like, a week off from Ride. So you know what? Every week's fine. I just want to see you boys. I just want to see your lovely faces.
Is Ryan coming to Bramblefest? Do we know?
Is
Ryan?
Ryan?
That's Ryan.
Yeah.
Ryan coming to Bramblefest.
Well,
Ryan, are you coming?
This is the first time we're talking about it.
Are you coming to Bramblefest, right?
I think I have to talk with the girlfriend. We're on vacation right before it, so we're seeing if it can work. I think it's a 60-40 chance right now. Not sure where the 60's leaning.
But what if?
And I want to be very clear. You're not paying a dime, right? You understand it would be completely free for you to go to Bramblefest and your girlfriend, right?
Well, I never. No, well,
you understand that is like you literally host a show on Deck the Hallmark is a Bramble Jam podcast. All the hosts come for free, Ryan.
Well, we should talk offline.
So 60-40, have we at least got to the 80-20 at this point?
Hey, let me text.
But what if it just is? What if it's extended? Your vacation extends on down to that Greenville.
So that's actually literally for the audience, Philo or listening. This is the first time the three of us are talking about this. That was kind of what she and I have been chatting about. It's just figuring out the logistics because The vacation spot is nowhere near that
Now,
Greenville spot.
well, the
So
last
You need
time
to
I
understand something since we're doing
The
this.
last time I invited you to a Deck the Hallmark event, you chose going to the mall over it. So I think my
Wait a minute, what?
Wait a sec. To be fair, time out though. The last time you invited me to a DTH event, you literally tried to suplex me mere moments
true.
before.
We were at an event. What are you talking about?
we invited him to the Deck the Hallmark dinner at Christmas Con.
Oh, yeah,
and he chose to go to the
Let's
mall.
go to the mall,
Dan, now
everybody.
the mall had been locked in for weeks, and then
Well,
Brand
that's
assaulted
the
me in
fun,
public and was
interesting
like, hey,
thing
do you
about the
want a
mall is
slice?
the mall could have gone away the next day. You never know
We
where
can
the
talk
mall's going to go.
offline, Ryan, but you need to understand if you come down to Bramble Fest, like you're not just going to be a spectator. Like you're going to be up and doing things.
Oh yeah.
Like you're gonna all right.
I don't know if anybody wants one, but I got this is a real thing. I have 2,000 WWE Ryan Papola 8x10s that are just collecting dust. So
I mean,
if even
yeah.
just one person took it, it would be a real
at the
win.
meet and greet, you bring all of those, man. People line up for that. I love it. That's fantastic.
Are they glossy?
There's some gloss, sure.
Yeah.
Under the dust.
We wouldn't-
It's a dust and gloss
We
combo.
wouldn't say it's a full glossy situation. It's like a gloss.
Yeah,
It's a gloss.
Yeah, I got to work on the signature again because I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. The key is to just scribble, and then then it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Ride episode 2, which is called Ryan.
It was called "You Gotta Giddy Up, Giddy Up, Giddy Up." It was an NSYNC reference.
Wow.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
It's another movie. I'm gonna go with Ride Along.
Ooh, no, it is. It is.
Remember when we went to see Ride Along in
I
the
do.
theater and you
I
were
do.
really upset about it?
Why was I upset?
Because it was a snow day. We're all eating at a restaurant. We got a snow day in South Carolina. Roads are fine, and we're across the street from the theater. We're all gonna go to the movies. And you were trying to convince all of us. It's me, you, and Panda, and like one other person. We're all like, let's go see Ride. It might have been Ride Along 2. And we're all like, yeah, let's go see this movie, this dumb movie. And you were like, they're playing Ferris Bueller's Day Off today.
On our day off.
Like, it's a day off. Thematically, we should go see Ferris Bueller. And we're all like, we've seen that movie. And had you seen it?
Yeah.
Okay. We're like, we've seen it, Bran. Let's go see something we haven't seen. And you're like, and you were actually upset about this.
Well, I like seeing old
Classics in
movies,
theaters.
classics in the theaters. That doesn't bother me at all. But I concede Ride Along 2, probably better than Ferris Bueller. I say sarcastically, by the way, out there for those of you at home.
Yeah, can I change my answer? This episode's called Ride Along 2.
Okay, Ride Along 2. This
Oh,
is
that's the second
called.
episode.
It is the second episode.
Yeah,
Ride Along 2.
yeah.
It is Rodeo and Juliet. Is the name of this episode.
Good God.
Oh dear.
What? Just like Rodeo and Juliet.
Rodeo and Juliet, and one of something like this. Missy and Cash are hanging out. Cash is doing a bit. Cash is doing a bit where he interviews her and is like, "Where do you see yourself in 5 years? If the moo was made of spare ribs, would you eat it?"
Cubs win.
All of a sudden, Isabel's like, Austin's back, and we're all like, excuse me, he was trampled in episode 1. It's a flashback, everybody. It's a flashback. He is not back from the dead. But it was WrestleMania weekend. I thought maybe you got an Undertaker situation here.
Oh, he's a dead man. Yeah.
He's a dead man.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's breakfast time. Is every episode going to start with breakfast? Let's keep the tally.
No.
Oh, are you doing breakfast news, boys? Thank you. And Cash is wondering if Missy is going to continue to do the Gene gig in Houston, or if she's just going to stay here and coach Cash every time he has a panic attack. And
Get back on the bull.
Get back on it.
You sissy.
She's like, I'm going to be able to do both. I'm going to talk to old JB and tell him I'm going to do the Gene stuff from here. Tough is annoyed at V for sending him a bunch of text messages in the middle of the night. And she's like, well, it's for good reason. I think we should buy sheep. Anybody out there?
Didn't have a notepad to jot that down on.
No, I got to text
phone
him.
call. Text.
Missy tries to convince JB to let her do the Gene stuff from the ranch, and he's like, hard pass here. We're doing it out of Houston, baby. But she's like, I'll double your traffic if you just let me stay at the ranch. And he's like, you got a week, Missy. And when he says that, it's not like you got a week, Missy. It's her name is Missy. It's you can. V is just like easy peasy, pal. Just post from Austin's social media about the jeans, and it'll boost up the clicks, which is an idea. And she says, I hear that idea, and I raise you this one. I'll go on a rodeo radio show.
Yeah, you will. Not just any rodeo radio show, Brand. These boots were made for talking.
That's exactly right. So that dude that was hitting on Missy the last episode, Gus, comes over, and he's interested in getting involved in the ranch game. He says, no more oil for me.
No more oil. Hi, I'm Gus, founder of No More Oil.
V and Tough go to buy sheep. They're looking for the owner.
I oughta.
Tough uses this time where they're looking for the owner of the sheep to bring up the tattoo guy, because apparently he remembers a year ago that she seemed to know the tattoo guy. She doesn't say anything. Instead, she's just like, hey, there's the sheep guy. There's the sheep guy. The sheep guy recognizes V and kicks them promptly off his property. So you can count those sheep goodbye. Good night.
Yeah. Good night.
Dang it. So you can count those sheep good night.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what a turn of phrase.
Thank you. Missy is able to manipulate her way onto the rodeo radio show, despite the host only being interested in her late husband and not in her jeans. Gus comes over for dinner and immediately starts talking to Missy. The family immediately starts grilling him with questions about ranch life, and he looks like a dummy. He doesn't even know anything about ranch work.
He knows the answers.
He don't know anything.
Okay.
He looks like a dummy.
A dummy.
To real ranch people, you can only fumble your way through ranch life so much. JB calls Missy and it's like, hey, you can't do the rodeo radio show. And she's like, okay. She then proceeds to do the rodeo radio show and crushes it. JB calls and is like, I should fire you right now, but the clicks are so good. My hands are tied. The clicks are so good.
They're so good.
Tough and V go back to the sheep guy, and they convince the sheep guy to pay them to take his sheep.
Heck of a deal.
Heck of a deal.
Man. Swindled them almost.
And I think the moral of the story here is tough is tough.
Tough is tough.
Cash and Missy are chatting it up, and he sees a wooden engagement box, and we get a flashback to the beginning of the episode, which was also it's a flashback to a flashback, and he's holding that same box, getting ready to tell her something. And then Austin shows up. He puts it back in his pocket, only later to give Austin that box and says, after saying, hey, I'm going to propose, Cash is like, okay, you can have this wooden box. He was housing a horse necklace in that box, and he throws that horse necklace in the glove box. Bummer for Cash. Not bummer for Austin. For those of you keeping up to date on the bummer counts.
Bummer count.
Yeah.
Tough is at a bar on a date and sees V walk in to meet with Tattoo Guy. V is up to something, and that, my friends, was episode 2, Rodeo and Juliet.
We did it.
Let's take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to break this episode down in a way that only we can here on Dr. Moment. No one else can do it like us.
No, nobody could. We have
Zero.
we have the corner on this particular way of doing
That's
things.
exactly right. Welcome back to the Hallmark. We're going to break this down with this is interesting with the hot take. It is where we share what we think about the episode. We're going to give
You
you
do that nonsense all the time, and every now and then it just gets me.
we're going to give you our
Every
opinion.
now and then it just gets
We're
me.
going to give you
You're
our
funny.
opinion.
You're a funny guy.
He is a funny guy.
We're going to give you
don't
our
need to
opinion
resort
on this
to
episode.
cheap tricks like horse hats or whatnot. Like you can just be
Yeah,
funny.
I really
You
like
think
this
I'm
comment
wearing
in the
this
chat.
for-
I really
Go
like this
ahead.
comment. I just got here. What is on Brand's head?
Guys,
The way Brand's sitting, you can't tell it. Yeah, if you lean or go this way, yes. If you go this way, yes. But up, it looks kind of weird. Why are you holding the horse nose to the microphone? You know the sound is not coming from the horse nose, right?
It was just then. The horse took over my body.
This
Right.
is interesting. We're going to start with a hot take.
All right. What did you think about this episode?
I'm so tired. But despite my exhaustion, I watched the first episode. I said, what I said earlier last week is I'm going to watch these two back to back. I think that's the best strategy. Turns out that was maybe not the best
Bad strategy, right? Yep.
Like with most things in my life, I was wrong. But I feel like what I did take away from this, I want to start with a positive, is that when the family, I hope we get breakfast every episode, Brand, because when the family is being a family, when we have ensemble scenes, I'm not telling you the show is great, but I actually think those feel the most, it makes sense, lived in. And I thought the chemistry was a little better in those moments. They've been fleeting. There's probably only been 2 or 3 scenes like that, but those have been the stuff that I've liked the best so far. It worries me that for a 10 episode order, 2 episodes in, I don't care about any of these major arcs. I was willing to give a pilot as a pilot, and I'm willing to cut it some slack. But they didn't do. There was elements of the sheep story that I found funny, but I've probably found it funny for the wrong reasons. The performances were maybe a tad better this go around, to my point from a second ago. But on the flip side, and again, I'm going to try to stop doing this. Hopefully my counter for comparing this to The Way Home ends at 2, because I don't think it's fair. It's, if Ride had been first and The Way Home had been second, we wouldn't be saying those things. And honestly, if that was feasible, maybe we should have done that. But I really cared about the vast majority of characters on The Way Home after 2 weeks.
Yes.
I know it's different production teams, yada, 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 but it's not like Hallmark is incapable of producing a show where we care about these people. Just so far, this is incapable of doing that. So I'll be really curious to see what the viewing ship is like going forward.
Yes, viewing ship is important.
I found this episode to be okay. I think I liked it more than the first episode. I'm starting to kind of get where we're going, and I don't hate it. I have to stop wishing we were back at the pond and embrace that we're on a ranch now. And is this ranch magical? No. Does this ranch time travel? Not that we know of. But I don't know. I had a nice time in the town this week. I had a nice time. What?
No, keep going.
I had a nice time in the town. And is anything overly exciting going on? No, but we're on a little bit of a journey here, and I'm trying to embrace the journey. I did not dislike this episode. I liked it okay, which is more than I can say for the pilot, which I disliked. This is I liked it okay. So it is a move up.
Moving on up.
And if every week is just kind of hanging out with some rodeo folks, I think I can get down with it.
Yeah.
Dan?
Thank you. I hate it. I think what has happened here is Hallmark got that show The Way Home from Netflix. It didn't get it from Netflix, but it was made for Netflix and it moved over. And so there was an integrity and a darkness built into that show that Hallmark just said, we can't have this show without this. So we're going to keep it in. This show, what they do is they dive into the middle of a quandary without introducing people up front to give you the sense that stakes are high.
I've jumped into so many quandaries.
It's tough.
I can't swim. So
it's difficult.
No.
You can't.
I can't swim. You can't swim either?
No, that's why we get along so well, dude.
Neither of you can.
Dude.
I have a pool, Ryan, and Brandon will show up at the pool and he'll just stand in the 3-foot shallow end. The pool's 6 feet deep. I mean, max.
I'm doing better though.
You are.
Last
doing
year,
better.
I made positive strides, and I would swim out, and I'd go like this, and then I would actively search for something to grab onto.
That's right.
Once I got a little nervy.
That's right.
But this is the year though that I jump into the deep end.
You're going to jump in the deep end?
By the end of the summer, I will jump into the deep end and live to tell the tale.
Well, Bran, how tall are you? You're over 6 feet, right?
No.
I'm 5'11".
All right, so you would just
5'10" and a half.
You have. I'm 5'8", so I don't 6 feet. I don't do it. I don't do it. But you in theory would just really have to kind of just like
your pool's deeper than 6 feet.
It isn't, but remember, there's a lot of inches above your mouth and nose. Really, you breathe here.
You're right about that.
So
my mouth isn't at 5'10".
I'm 6'5", and if I stand up in the the pool, I don't get to where I can just breathe.
Dude, mouths
Right.
and nose are wild.
So
You'd
wild.
think
Are you
those would be
high?
at the top. No, not yet.
So let me finish if I could. So it feels as though they've put us in the middle of something to make us think they're stakes. But when we start to get to like the machinations of
Imagination
of why what they're trying to do to hold on to this ranch, or how she's gonna double up this Gene Company's like. There's just nothing there. It is more akin to When Calls the Heart and spending time in the town than I would like it to be. We're still holding out hope that some of these kind of threads come together. But this was I like the first one more than
This feels like it has more gusto though than When Calls
I think
the
the
Heart.
first episode did. Now we're not there.
I don't know. I think there's more grit.
I just feel like Hallmark has a hard time really committing to, if you're going to have a show with stakes, you have to have some kind of darkness in the show. That's the only way it works. Like Ted Lasso is maybe the only show I've ever seen in its first 2 seasons to have very little in the way of a character that's a bad person and still have stakes. But in season 3, they've built a big bad character now that's an awful human being and that is central to it. You can't have a show that doesn't like take that head on and give you like this thing that makes things difficult, and they're trying to do it again like they do in When Calls the Heart, and that's unfortunate.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Please
Because you were
do.
talking about steaks. How many steaks do you think you could eat in one day if
How
you
big
had
are the
to?
stakes, Brandon?
Well, throughout the course of a day, can you take a break?
You can take a break. It's just from like when you wake up to when you fall asleep. I don't know, like
You just want to do total ounceage? I can do
total
it.
ounceage.
Well, I did. How many? What did I do with the hulls? I did. Those are 32-ounce boys. I
Those
did
are
about
30,
50.
but part of that is a bone.
Yeah, that's right. I did about 45 ounces in one sitting, so I feel good that I could clear 100 in
Wow.
a day. I think I could do 100 ounces of steak.
I don't know, man, because that 40 plus sits with you though. It
It does.
Not,
No, I didn't feel good, but I also added a cinnamon roll cheesecake to that and some sides.
Somebody
and salad.
said they can't eat
Ooh.
a steak without A1.
Then you've not had a good steak.
That's exactly
If
right.
you're eating steak with A1, then you're eating a bad steak.
And I'll say this.
I love A1.
I love A1.
I'll put it on all kinds of stuff. Great steak, A1. Doesn't need it.
Agreed.
Great. Yeah.
How many steaks do you think you could eat, Ryan?
Yeah, probably about 100. You know, I'll be there with Dan. It's me and
Oh wow, okay.
I love it.
He's gonna keep up with you
I love
ounce
it.
for ounce.
Let's go, man.
It's gonna be great.
Man.
Not a competition. We all win here.
Yeah, not unlike the rodeo, not a competition. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or a lot like the rodeo.
Let's talk about the feels. Let's talk about feels. Ryan, anything in this episode gives you feels?
I did like that Missy McMurray and the rest of the town was waiting in line for a book signing, like it was me waiting for Mark Paul Gosselaar to sign my Nerf baseball. That was, you know, it was topical. But you two may have even learned this about me at this point. I need to be invested, and even if I'm not invested, I find ways to become invested about things, because we're doing this for 10 weeks, for better or worse, for richer or poorer, we're doing it. So
it's the wrestling analyst in you. Like
That's
even when a storyline's not hitting, you got to figure out a way to make it hit.
this is how I am in my everyday life, and so I have decided I love Gus. I love Gus, and I love Gus and Gussie. I'm shipping Gussie.
Whoa!
You know
until
what?
the cows come home. Give me Gussie. I'm all in on Gussie.
That is better than Muss.
You're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe this. In my notes,
Uh-oh.
I have one word written, and it is what?
Gussie.
I also, Ryan, am shipping Gussie. Give me Gus and Missy all day long. Get out of here, Cash. Gus and Missy.
Mash.
The sparks are there.
Love it.
It
Love Gus.
is. I'm all in on the
I
Gus
don't know.
Missy
I'm a
relationship.
mash and taters kind of guy.
Oh, I see what you did there. Yeah.
That was it for me. I'm all in. Hashtag Gussie.
That's mine too.
The idea that there is a rodeo radio show
Can
that
please,
has
please start hashtag Gussie. Please
hashtag Gussie.
get it going. Let's go.
The
Everybody.
fact that there is a rodeo radio show that has the ability to more than double the click rate
Yeah.
for jeans.
It's a massive weight walk.
I don't know. I love it. I want to live in that world. I don't think that world exists, I just want to put it out there. I don't think that world exists, but I want to live in it. The Rodeo radio show that doubles the Gene's click-through rate. Let's give it up for that. Yeah. We're going to come back and we're going to break this thing down more in a way that only we can.
Only we can.
Here on Deck the Homer. Welcome back to Deck the Hallmark, a program you can listen to or watch on Philo. Let's talk about the Wait What's that we found in episode 2 of Ride. I'm going to throw it over to the Rye guy himself.
Not the Ride guy. Well, maybe.
No.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I want to ask you two a hardball question.
Uh-oh, here it comes now.
Where are you going to be in 5 years?
Oh,
a real hard hitter. You know that question that every doctor's office survey asks you, where you're going to be in 5 years. And then this is coupled. I genuinely, you mentioned it, Brand, so I won't harp on it too long. I really thought Austin had returned from the dead.
Yes.
So from a production standpoint, they did not nail that. There was, because even when we got out of the flashback, if you are not paying attention, you did not know we left the flashback. You just would have thought Austin was back.
Right. When you're watching Saved by the Bell, there's no mistaking that pink fuzz around the screen. It lets us know it's a fantasy sequence.
That's right.
We got to know we're not smart. We're not smart enough, right? We need a little help.
At least I do. But I'm gonna, for everyone on Philo, sorry, I got to direct my notes here carefully. I'm gonna read because I got to make sure I get this right. Gene Guy to Missy. You do want to be our brand ambassador. You want to help us sell some jeans, right? Because this is how it's done. How it's done, apparently, is a nondescript Photoshop poster with a dead bull rider and his wife that you probably can't even recognize because she's like a 1/8 of the poster is apparently how it's done.
And that has to be done in Houston, Texas. Has to be.
And the jeans are barely visible in the ad. The jeans are the smallest part of the jean ad. If the goal was to make us dislike the jean tycoon, they did it. It was they did it. I already talked about how much I love Gus. I love him. But the last one, and I say this rarely, but this won't be topped for the season. And listen, I've never been on a ranch. I'm a city boy from the suburbs. I've lived a very sheltered life. They put the carton of goat milk back in their regular fridge. Is that a thing? The goat was sipping the milk, and then they put that carton in their fridge where they would get their everyday meals and stuff.
That's really bad. I didn't even notice it. That is really, really
I don't know,
bad.
man. I don't know.
Maybe that's how it's done, but
could
it
be
was horrifying for sheltered Ryan.
Are you worried you're gonna pull that boy out and start sucking on it? What are you worried about?
It would have a separate fridge. It would.
What are we worried about here?
Brant, even if you took, think about it though, Brant, even if you took the goat sipper off and you poured that.
It was a calf, not a goat, that in the chat. That is correct. But yes,
even if you poured the calf sipper off, it's unless you shouldn't do it. It's at the best, it's unsanitary. At best, at worst, it's catastrophic. That's all I got.
At worst, it's catastrophic.
At the best, it's unsanitary. At the worst, it's catastrophic.
Yeah, write that. Someone write that. There's a lot of radio silence on this radio program. The amount of time she mutes everything to just be like, hey, let's pump it up a little bit. Let's do a little this, a little this and that. There's nothing going. That's just silence on the other end. That's what. We're not here in silence because we get to hear the conversation. We're privy to that. But the listeners at home listening to the Rodeo radio show, they're not privy to that. They just think it's just dead silence, just dead air over there. I have to be honest with you. If I was following Austin on social media and I knew that he died, a year later, if I suddenly seen an ad for jeans on his social media account, I'm going to assume he got hacked. Yeah. Right? I'm going to report that. I'm going to report that.
Yeah.
That just the idea of, hey, just post it on your dead husband's social media account and it'll go gangbusters is insane.
Just who cares about that guy? He's been dead. Use him for all you can use him.
Last but not least, Cash I can only assume got that horse necklace from Claire's in the mall.
Yeah.
Because it looked like it was for a 10-year-old.
Cash, buddy.
That guy Cash was walking in the mall, saw the line for getting your ears pierced out the door, and said, "Wow, that's a cute little horse necklace. It's made for toddlers. Let me get that for the girl that I like." That was hilarious. Dano?
Yeah, you said it in the Fields brand, but I have to point out that, you know, every time we think Hallmark has technologically like made it, and they understand how to show technology, and they understand what it is and how it works in 2023, they just go and they redeem themselves with a radio program that is going to double the activity on a national gene company's website from a radio program. God love you. No chance, no how, no way. Thanks for doing that and making it a big deal, and us thinking radio matters. We basically do radio here. It's a podcast, guys. That's what it is. I am so underwhelmed by the Save the Ranch plot line. I mean, I couldn't be more underwhelmed. Like, Save the Ranch, like either like somebody should be banging on the door trying to take that thing out. They should be sniveling like with fangs and just like, yeah, I'm going to take your ranch. Or they should be doing something illegal, and that's the problem. Basically, the way I understand it, the two ways that they can keep the ranch. Option one, and they do end up making more money on this, but at the time, here are the options. Buy sheep and sell the wool in the spring. Option two, sell the cattle that we own. Now, if you are behind on all your bills, you shouldn't probably be buying more sheep. And it turns out the dude's going to pay them to take them, which is another way. We'll get there. But option two, you have cattle, right? If that is the option, which of those is easier and we'll see an immediate return, right? One of these is, let's go spend more money on sheep, and then in the spring, it's not the spring right now, we'll shear them and we'll make wool money. Is that wool money just high dollar money? Because what you're saying is the bills are past due. We can wait 4 to 10 more months, and we'll spend more money that we don't have, and then we'll sell wool. Or immediate fix, let's sell some cattle. Those options are both really boring, and also one of them is clearly better than the other, and it's not the one that they chose.
But also, like, go from the sheep owner's side, he is going to be paying them money, and the only reason you would do that is if you think that the sale of the wool will end up being, I'll make that money back. That's right, and some, right? So either way, it's a bad deal for them.
And not only that, now that I think of it, they're splitting the wool profits in the spring 50-50. So you mean to tell me your ranch can be saved by half of the profits 8 months from now of wool from like 24 sheep? You don't have a problem. You can go to the bank and take a loan for $10,000. You're probably good. Like, that is no money at all. That's terrible. Like, that's really, like, you have this show, you have the death of a family member, you have all of this intrigue you're trying to create. How about give us some better options than sell cattle now, sell wool later, and split profits? That is really, really boring, and I hate it. Lastly, if this radio interview, either we have to believe that it's hysterical that radio is going to do anything, or we have to believe this is like the biggest radio program in the country.
Nationally syndicated.
Yeah, that's right. And it will easily solve the problem as long as she does a good job. If we believe the first, that's a wait, what? If we believe the second, that it's a big deal, why in the world do you have your phone on vibrate on the table? Like, we have a lot of fun here. We make noises with the mic. We mess with the mic sometimes just to make Bran angry. If we were doing a serious radio show, we would not put our phone on vibrate and set it right next to the microphone. And then someone calls and she's like, oh, sorry.
With the screen up.
Yeah, screen up, baby. Just like, and she gets like 3 calls. She never takes it off vibrate. It's just like, bam, 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 bam. It is unconscionable. I would have canceled the interview. I'd have been like, let's shut it down. You can't do this. This is terrible.
Let's shut it down. Let's get to Ride or Die. It's where we talk about something we're riding or we're dying. Ryan.
I struggled with this. But Val, I found it near the end of the episode. We've been talking about the sheep of it all, as we always do here on Deck the Hallmark. Val strikes out at buying the sheep from the cranky old guy, who also is one of my favorite characters. I doubt we ever see him again, but he was great. I like that Val just goes, shoot. That made me laugh. It was fun. And then they're walking away, and Tough goes, well, why doesn't the guy like it? And she's like, because I used to beat his daughter in barrel racing, which that would have been the more interesting show.
Yes.
I want the barrel racing show. So
Bring
this
it.
isn't what the Hallmark, but if it was, I want the barrel racing program.
Right.
Thank you.
We do get a tattoo guy scene without any dialogue now.
3.
So we're up to 3 for the season. I will say this one, you could, if you wanted to get really nitpicky here, put an asterisk next to it, because we do see him out in the distance talking. So we do know he can talk, but we don't get to hear that dialogue. So therefore, I will put on a list 3 scenes so far this season. Let's see if we can do more, Dan.
Yeah, mine is also the guy that's selling the sheep. What was his plan initially? If we know, apparently everyone knows that his farm has been overused and isn't going to be good for sheep. He knows that. He knows that he doesn't have a play for this year for the sheep. And they come in hot with, we want to buy your sheep. And he's like, no. What was his plan? Because what happened is he said no, and then he got a worse deal. So they're like, can we buy your sheep? He said no. And then they come back and they go, can you pay us to take your sheep? And he said yes. What was his initial? What was he going to do if they had never come back? If they just went and he said no, and they went shoot, and they walked off and did the sell the cattle thing. What was he going to do? Just let the sheep die? Like, what was his big plan? I mean, like, it's a lot. Like, that's all hat, no cattle there. Like, he was big. He was all in on, no, I'm not selling you my sheep, knowing full well he doesn't have a plan. Yeah. That seemed like a mistake.
Shoot.
And I will say I did love that he said deal before even talking finances. He doesn't know how much he's going to have to pay them to take his sheep. Yeah. He's just like
100K per sheep.
Deal.
And then they were like, we know your secret,
Hey, no, I know your secret. Deal. Let's try it. Try it this week, guys. Let us know how it goes. If somebody says no to you, just tell them you know their secret and just let us know how it goes. I'm intrigued at how it plays.
I know your secret. Have you thought about that?
I know your secret. The key is to not have any secrets, everybody.
Yeah.
If someone said it to me, I'd be like, okay.
Right
on. Well, you know that I like Riverdale, like everyone knows that.
Yeah.
Like I got no shame over here.
I wear a horse hat on the air,
horse hat on the air. That's exactly right. We'll be back next week with another ride. Can't wait for that. Until then, maybe we're the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmark is a Bramble Jam podcast. It's produced by Aaron Shea. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.